We all have stories to tell. What better way to share our faith in Jesus Christ than with our own stories? The story I'd like to share isn't that old of a story. It didn't happen all that long ago. It was April of 2006, and our dog Missy died suddenly. Now, she'd been our dog for 11 years, and so we really missed her and mourned her for quite a while. And it was quite a while before my husband Bud came to me and said, I think I'm ready. I'd really like to have another dog. We decided we would like to adopt a dog through a shelter or the pound, and so I started checking out the websites for those places. We came across several dogs, but by the time we'd applied, they had already found a home. So eventually we came across a dog, and I think the dog's name was Peanuts, and we filled out the application, and we anxiously waited for someone to get back to us to let us know about adopting Peanuts. Nobody called us, so eventually, I think probably at least a week later, I called the shelter and said, so what's going on? We applied, we'd really like to adopt Peanuts. The woman on the other end of the phone said, well, Peanuts has already been adopted, plus I'm sorry to tell you, but we don't feel you are a suitable home for a dog. Well, I have to admit, I was pretty upset by this because both Bud and I, through our childhood and through our time together, we've had several dogs, and so we know that we provide a good home for a dog. So after I got off the phone, I just looked out my window and I just lifted up a prayer to God and said, okay, if you want us to have a dog, you're going to have to bring a dog right here to us. Because I was really kind of ticked that we were told we weren't a suitable home. Well, I lifted that prayer, and then I promptly moved on to other things, kind of forgot that I'd even prayed that prayer. And it was really some time later, I don't know exactly how many years passed between my praying that prayer and a dog showing up at our backyard, but it was at least a couple years. And it was April of 2010, and we noticed that this dog was around, and every night she was sleeping in this flower bed under a tree in our backyard. Now, we know that she was being fed, because we found out later that all kinds of neighbors were making sure she had food and water. And what was interesting was every evening she would, no matter where she appeared to be during the day, because we'd see her roam in the neighborhood, every evening she'd return to our home and she'd go to sleep under this tree. And Bud even put out some straw so she might have a warmer bed, because it was April, so still kind of iffy with the temperatures at night. What's interesting is, as time went on and we eventually adopted this dog and we named her Lucy, the thing about the story with Lucy is that she came to us in the exact same spot where I was looking out my back window when I prayed that prayer to God all those months before. When I said, okay, God, if you want us to have a dog, you're going to have to bring one right here to us. I was looking out my back window at this tree in this flower bed in my backyard. And that's where this dog appeared, night after night, sleeping there, until eventually we took her in and made her our own. So one of the things I learned about God through Lucy is, actually there's several lessons, because there's a lot more to the Lucy story. But for today, my focus is the fact that God is faithful. God hears our prayers. And God is faithful, even to the point of bringing a dog into our lives at just the right time when she was needed. Because that was also a time when I was transitioning into answering my call to ministry and eventually going to seminary. And so Lucy became a companion for Bud while I was attending seminary, sometimes for 2 weeks at a time and sometimes for long weekends. She was there with him. And so I share with you these words from Lamentations. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Our God is faithful. Our God is faithful to answering our prayers. Our God is faithful to us in all seasons of our lives. And I pray you've experienced God and God's faithfulness in your life.